Right now at noon, authorities charge a woman with arson after a massive fire destroys an apartment building in southwest Missouri.
And we've got sunny and warm conditions out there. A few clouds starting to show up for that partly cloudy part of the forecast. We'll take a look at that forecast and our upcoming rain chances coming up.
And the Missouri State Fire Marshal is assisting in the investigation of a fire at a duplex in Carl Junction.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
A medical emergency puts a Joplin firefighter in the hospital. This is KOAM News at noon. I'm Melissa Alexis. It happened yesterday during a scheduled training exercise at a Joplin Public Safety Training Center. This is file video of that training center. Authorities are not yet releasing details, including the name of the firefighter, but they say fellow firefighters provided immediate assistance on the scene. At last report, the firefighter was in the hospital listed in critical but stable condition. Look for updates on KOAMnewsnow.com. The Missouri State Fire Marshal is assisting in the investigation of a fire at a duplex in Carl Junction. Flames and smoke were reported at about 1:30 a.m. on Tuesday morning from a residence at 1100 block of Southgate. Carl Junction firefighters arrived to find flames coming from the garage wall of the duplex. When the firefighters arrived, the fire had already spread to the roof of the garage. Both the ceiling and the roof suffered extensive damage. Everyone was out of the home safely. As we get updates, they'll be posted on KOAMnewsnow.com. Now let's check in with Chris Warner for a look at the forecast.
Yeah, we've got some of those clouds starting to show up. You can see them up here in the corner from our camera in downtown Pittsburgh. Otherwise, still clear skies, but that's what we talked about this morning. The clear to partly cloudy skies. MoDOT camera, I-44 and range line looking back to the north. Looking pretty good so far as well. We started yesterday just a few degrees above normal. We made it to just a few degrees above normal, so thankfully not near records on either side. But boy, we are going to start warming up as we head into our Thursday. Already doing pretty decent on the warming trend right now. 65 Joplin, 68 in Pittsburgh, and we're in the low mid 60s, upper 60s, and of course further south already into the low 70s, so going above normal for our highs once again. We'll have those partly cloudy and clear skies, that mix continue, and then after midnight, clouds will begin to increase as we see rain chances increase tomorrow morning, and those clouds, of course, increasing out there. Our temperatures back down to the low 60s by 11. Now, thanks to the cloud cover, we're going to have a fairly mild night ahead of us, ahead of those storm chances, and of course, I know people are wondering about the weekend rain. We'll look at that as well here in just a few more minutes. Melissa?
All right, thanks, Chris. The Jasper, Missouri Fire Protection District is asking voters to approve a tax increase on April 8th. It would be the first tax rate increase for the district since 2015. KOAM's Samantha Walker has more.
Since 2020, the Jasper Fire Protection District has used a FEMA grant to help pay for staffing, but that grant ended in 2024 and they were unable to renew it.
We tried for an extension and there was no extension available and the grant went away, and the current tax dollars won't fund that without some kind of help or an increase.
The Jasper Fire Protection District is asking voters to approve a property tax increase that would only pay for staffing. If passed, that increase would raise the tax rate by 30 cents per $100 of assessed property valuation, bringing the total to about 59 cents per $100.
We really hated to ask for this and still don't really want to ask for it, but we really have no choice. We've reached a breaking point to where there's just no other choice that we can come up with.
Good says the tax increase wouldn't pay for more staffing. It would allow them to sustain their current number of daytime staff. He says without other funding options, the district will likely have no choice but to close their doors during the day.
Which means we'll start missing calls as medical calls, car wrecks, fires, and what have you. There just won't be anyone here a lot of times to respond to it.
Jasper Fire serves roughly 126 square miles, and he says they're often the only ones able to get to scenes nearby quickly. If they don't have daytime staffing, he says it could take much longer for other departments to get to any emergency.
Most of our surrounding departments are in the same boat as we are. There's a lot of times we're on scene with a heart attack patient or some type of a medical emergency or a car crash for anywhere from 20 to sometimes 40 minutes to an hour before an ambulance arrives up in here. So without that, someone's going to have to sit there and wait for a prolonged time for help to arrive.
The district responds to both Barton and Jasper counties, so voters in both counties will see this question on their ballots. In Jasper, I'm Samantha Walker, KOAM News.
And voters will cast their ballots for or against the tax increase on April 8th. Prosecutors bring a charge of arson against a woman in connection with a massive apartment fire near Table Rock Lake. Over the weekend, authorities arrested Angie Maywald, a resident at the apartment complex. She'll face a charge of first-degree felony arson and felony endangering the welfare of a child. Court documents allege Maywald set the fire that fully engulfed the apartment complex in Stone County, Missouri. Police officers say she took a child outside of the complex with her, but ran into the woods alone. According to the state fire marshal, Maywald admitted to setting the fire that displaced 32 people and 19 families. Maywald is being held without bond. Missouri Southern hosts its 36th annual Regional Science Fair. The fair consisted of middle and high school students from over 16 counties between Missouri and Kansas. KOAM's Lonnie Walton took us there to get all the action.
Well, microplastics are a really big issue just in the whole world in general right now.
Ty Madison is a senior at Joplin High School. He's a science lover and joined this science fair competition to help educate people on the dangers of microplastics.
In the Joplin area, for sure, right now there's a really big issue with them because there isn't necessarily data that tells us how many microplastics are in our waterways.
He's not the only one dealing with microplastics. Middle school Ancy often says she talks about them too. And like Ty, she says they're no good.
I did pothos propagation and plastic bottles versus glass jars. Plastic bottles can contain microplastics and nanoplastics that have harmful heavy metals and chemicals in them.
And high school senior Maya Craven has her own specialty, but we'll let her tell you what that is.
What I did was I evaluated sheep wool pellets as a sustainable alternative for water conservation and drought-prone areas.
And how did she do that?
I separated 72 individual plant pots into 3 groups. One had 0% sheep wool pellets implemented into that soil. Group 2 had about 5% and Group 3 had about 10%.
Both Maya and Ty had to give 12-minute talks to judges that they hope would allow them to enter a state competition at the University of Central Missouri. Maya says she's having a blast.
I learned a lot of things that I didn't think I was going to learn.
And for Ty, although there's no cure for microplastics, bringing awareness to it is just as important to him.
Hard thing because microplastics can be this tiny thing that you can barely detect.
And Ansley says she's saving all her learning for one thing.
I want to be a vet when I'm older.
Reporting in Joplin, I'm Lonnie Walton, KOAM News.
The winner of the fair received medals and cash prizes. The grand prize winner will have an opportunity to participate in an international science fair and engineering fair held in May. Coming up, a STEM program is still on hold after federal cuts. And later, we're making Philly cheesesteak bake in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen. A nationwide student extracurricular program has been temporarily suspended while waiting for federal funding. Isabella Ladon reports.
3, 2, 1.
What should be an exciting experiment among 5th grade students is met with a still silence.
It's been tough, to be honest with you.
Federal leaders did designate $53 million for STAR-based programs, but these seats remain empty.
We had really hoped that things would be up and going here after the budget passed on March 14th.
Kansas STAR-base's executive director says this year, those dollars are not fenced, meaning the Secretary of Defense can reassign the money to something else before April 28th.
It's the waiting game that's killing us, and it's so frustrating that even with the clear intent of Congress to provide us with the funds, we yet have another hurdle.
Educators like Jane Sullivan have worked with STAR-base for years.
So this program is one of those programs that has allowed our boys and girls to think differently.
Without it, she believes there will be more work for Kansas teachers.
They aren't going to get that hands-on experience where the sciences, all the different sciences, get to come alive to them.
So the students would come over, they'll pick up the robot here.
For teachers like Gina Schleimer, it's more than a job.
And then
that's why she's working with other coordinators to bring 5th graders into the classroom for just one day this week.
I have 2 staff members who are going to volunteer their time to come and be right here on site with the kids because they miss them just as much as I do.
They're kids, and they're our future. They are, and that's what we've got to all come together and say, what can we do, what's best for our kids?
Melissa Pete, the executive director of Starbase, is hoping that the program will be restored. Still to come on KOAM News at noon, Mr. Food.
Today we get the taste of a Philly cheesesteak in the form of a casserole. And it's easy with a few market shortcuts. Can't taste it.
And we're tracking thunderstorm chances as we head into tomorrow morning and then again heading into the weekend. Details when we come back. Welcome back to the KOAM News at noon. So we've had those clear skies and we are starting to see some partly cloudy skies here and there, and that will continue to be the case for us as we head into the evening, and then late tonight those clouds will start to thicken up. Quick look outside downtown Pittsburgh. Again, off to the left of your screen is some of those clouds. Now, if I swung this camera around back north, you'd see a few more of those clouds. So that's just what we've got. It's not bad, and we're warming up, already going above normal in most cases, and we're not quite done warming yet. And wait until you see tomorrow's temperatures, because if this isn't warm enough for you yet, it's going to get really warm. As we head into the afternoon, again, temperatures continue to rise south and west, maybe a little warmer than everybody else, but still above average and still quite warm. As you can see, the continuation of the clear to partly cloudy skies into the evening. Now, once we hit about midnight or so, clouds will begin to increase, and as we head toward tomorrow morning, if you were with us this morning, this has already changed again for tomorrow morning, but we are looking at least some scattered shower and thunderstorm chances as we head into the morning hours on our Thursday. These should still exit the area by by 1 or 2 o'clock. Future Track still has some of them lingering through 5, so we'll see exactly how that one pans out. But I think all in all, the most of this activity will be done by 2. And then look at these temperatures by 5 o'clock tomorrow evening. A lot of us at or slightly above 80 degrees. This is more like early May weather, not late March or early April weather. Once we get through that, we head into our Friday. Friday, we have another opportunity for some isolated pop-up showers, maybe a rumble of thunder or two out there. And if you look close, you see those little green splotches. Now again, with pop-up showers, the Future Track is saying these are the zones that could happen. It's not necessarily saying there will be a shower or a thunderstorm in exactly those locations, but they're going to be very isolated. Most of us will remain dry on Friday. We'll just be mostly cloudy. Then we go into the weekend, and that's when we got stuff to talk about. For the rest of today, most of us, again, low 70s, but some upper 70s, south and west possible. Clear to partly cloudy skies, and that east wind at about 5 to 10 miles an hour. Clouds will again thicken up after midnight. Because of that, works as that blanket, keeps us warmer, upper 50s. Right? Our low should be around the low 40s. We're talking being almost 20 degrees above normal tonight. South breeze 5 to 10. Tomorrow, showers, thunderstorms, at least a few scattered storms before 2. Otherwise, mostly cloudy, clearing late in the day, and southwest winds do pick up a bit, 10 to 20, gusting upwards of 30. So let's talk about Saturday and into Sunday. Saturday, still showing the possibility of some isolated showers or storms after noon. Doesn't look very great. That's part of why our severe threat was removed for Saturday a few days ago, because there's the expectation of a pretty strong cap being in place over our area most of Saturday. But what we are watching is very early Sunday morning. So here we are at midnight. The cold front that will set the stage for a larger severe event east of us will start firing thunderstorms at or just after midnight in our far western counties. And as we go through the overnight, here we are at 3, these start to fill in. And believe it or not, even at that time of day, they'll be in an environment where they could intensify. And that's why, at least at this point for Sunday, we still have that severe threat for the eastern half of our area. So those storms would fire, start rolling east, and intensify a bit. So we still want to watch Sunday very closely, especially since this will be so early in the morning on Sunday. Outside of that, though, low 80s tomorrow, low 70s Friday, low 80s again Saturday. We do get cold for a little bit following those storms Sunday. A little cooler Monday, and then the nice warmer weather returns as we head into next week.
Awesome. We've been having awesome weather these past couple days.
We certainly have.
Definitely. Well, stick around. We're making Philly cheesesteak bake in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen. We'll be right back. Howard's making Philly cheesesteak bake in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
Whether you've been to Philadelphia or not, there's a good chance that you've probably had, or at least heard of, a Philly cheesesteak. There's something about the combo of the sliced beef and the cheese sauce on a hearty roll that makes it so popular. And that's the inspiration for the casserole that we're whipping up today. We start by baking a frozen garlic bread until it's crispy. Once it is, we cut it into large chunks and place it in a baking dish. While it was baking, we sauteed a couple of onions and peppers until they were tender. Now we spoon some cheese sauce over the bread, top it with some deli roast beef that we've cut into strips, and the cooked veggies. And we pop it in the oven to warm through. When it's hot, we finish the whole thing with cheese sauce, just like they do in South Philly. What we end up with is everything that we love about a cheesesteak in the form of a hot and hearty casserole. You could even sprinkle on some chopped cherry peppers if you want to make this more authentic. I do hope you'll go online and get the recipe for our Philly cheesesteak bake so you can add a new weeknight favorite to your dinner routine. I'm Howard in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found a Philly way for you to say, ooh, it's so good.
Of course, you can find this recipe along with a lot of other good food from the Mr. Food Test Kitchen online. Just go to our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. Now here's a look at the 4-state market prices.
All right, so again, we are decent today, low 70s, low 80s tomorrow, a few morning showers and storms, a couple isolated storms Friday, and then we're watching that potential for some strong, potentially severe storms very early Sunday morning. And again, that's really the point that we want to emphasize is if this does pan out the way it's looking, we're talking an unusual event with severe weather starting at 1, 2 o'clock in the morning and out of our area by 6 a.m. So just make sure you got your weather radio working and ready to go just in case.
Or keep it here and have our app.
We'll be getting the Skywatch weather app will be a lot faster, and of course you always have your phone charged.
Absolutely. Dow, what do we have coming up at 5?
Well, lots at 5 for starters, as the United States deals with one of its largest measles outbreaks in the past decade. New research in pediatrics shows that childhood immunization rates for some illnesses still remain lower than pre-pandemic levels. We're going to have details on that. Plus, Lamar, Missouri is getting all of its water mains replaced, all of them. We're going to have what you need to know. And a telethon is going to be held for Hero Fund America. We'll hear from the fire departments about how grants from Hero Fund America help them get the equipment and the training they need. Hope you join us for those stories, a lot more, of course. It's coming up today, KOAM News at 5.
And that's the news for now. Thank you for joining us on KOAM News at noon. Have a great rest of your day.